If you visit China during the New Year, you will certainly see some interesting things. If you look in the sky, you'll see fireworks. You'll also see a lot of people banging on drums. Finally, you'll see dragon dances. This is all because of an old story. Many years ago, there was a monster named Nian. Every time the lunar eclipse occurred, Nian would go to the village, scare the people, and eat their crops. If any children were left outside, they would certainly disappear. Every time Nian would come, an old man would have to protect the townspeople from him. However, one day, he decided he couldn't do it alone anymore. The townspeople could gain strength in numbers and most likely become victorious over Nian. The wise men told the villagers that Nian was scared of the color red, loud noises, strange animals, and fire. The next year when Nian returned, everybody wore red, children wore face masks, people banged on drums, and lanterns decorated with scary animals were brought outside. Nian was so scared that he ran away and never came back. The Chinese New Year celebrates the people's victory over Nian. The god of the eastern sky, Di Jun, had 10 children that were sons. Every morning, one of the sons would ride in a chariot pulled by a dragon and illuminate different parts of the world. The 10 sons usually took turns lighting up the sky, but one day they decided to travel together. However, the environment was unable to sustain this extreme heat. Water dried up, rocks fell apart, and villagers suffered. The people begged Emperor Yao to make the sons separate, but the sons liked traveling together, so they didn't listen to the emperor. Then, the emperor asked the best archer, Huo Yi, to ascend a mountain and shoot down the sons. So Huo Yi climbed up the mountain and began to shoot each sun out of the sky. The suns exploded until only one remained. The rest became stars that lit up the night sky. Earth was restored to harmony, and the people were content again. And thus concludes the story of the 10 sons. Long ago, there was a man named Yugong who was incredibly tenacious. In fact, he was so persistent to achieve his goals that people called him Old Fool. The man lived in a house that faced the Taihang and Wangwu mountains. He was frustrated that the mountains blocked his path, so he called a family meeting to find a solution to the problem. He thought that physically moving the mountains would be the only way. His wife asked how he was going to do this and where he planned on putting the dirt. Yugong suggested that they dump it into Bohai. So they all started hacking away at the mountain. Another old man lived not too far from Yugong. His name was Zhisou. He was curious to why and how Yugong would remove the mountain. Yugong explained that even though he was old, he could work until he died, and once he died, his son could take over. When his son died, Yugong's grandson could take over. The god of the mountain heard this conversation and admired Yugong's persistence. So, he went to the Heaven Palace to see the God Emperor. He told the Emperor of Yugong's endurance. The God Emperor respected Yugong's hard work, so he sent 2 warriors to help him. In no time, the mountains separated. Yugong's will was so strong that it actually changed the god's mind. Now, people tell this story when they want to let someone know to never give up on their dreams. The universe used to be a big black egg that kept Pangu inside of it. Pangu grew larger and larger until he broke the shell. The top half became heaven and the bottom half became earth, creating yin and yang. Pangu didn't want heaven and earth to reunite, so he stood between them for 18,000 years until they grew 30,000 miles apart. When Pangu died, his body became the elements of the earth. His breath became the wind, his eyes became the sun and the moon, his skin became the soil for trees to grow in, his blood became rivers, his sweat became rain, and the parasites on his body turned into humans. It is now said that Pangu controls the weather with his emotions.